Welcome back. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adanna Combie. Thank you so much for staying with us. We begin this segment with the photo of the day. The photo of the day. Can you guess where in Tobago this photo was taken? This photo was sent in by Lawrence James. Lawrence James, we say thank you for this photo. And of course, our viewers, you are invited to figure out where in Tobago was this taken. And of course, we will reveal it at the end of the show. So stay tuned. All right, so this conversation this morning, we head on over to speaking with Mr. Rhondall Fields. He is the president of the Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dr. Joan Bobb-Ward. She is an educator. This morning, we're speaking on the topic dismantling double standards in the male-female narrative. Good morning and welcome.
Morning. Thanks for having us, Adanna.
All right. It's a pleasure having you guys on the program this morning to speak on a very, very important topic, especially coming out of celebrating fathers. We had Father's Day celebrations yesterday. And so, of course, again, we say happy Father's Day to all our fathers, far and near. And we have a very, very important conversation we must have because we realize in spaces that women are really acknowledged for all the glorious things that they do. And of course, they must be given their due. But what about our men? They too are pillars of society, and sometimes they go unnoticed because perhaps we think, well, they are a man and they're supposed to do that anyway. But we also need to have the conversations that address the things that do not go right for both men and women. But this morning we want to focus on men. And as the topic says, dismantling the narrative, the double standard in the narrative in men-women conversations. And you know, Dr. Bob and Rhondall, I don't know if viewers must know that we're a part of a team pressing towards ensuring, especially in the regional space, that men are recognized for their contribution to society and, of course, addressing issues that are important to men. So good morning again and welcome to the conversation as we head on over. Just give us a little bit in terms of how the three of us kind of are in this space this morning to have this conversation.
Yeah, Adanna. Well, as you rightfully said, we are a part of a planning group when it comes to International Men's Day. But it's something that I have noticed for a while now, and particularly there was an ad that just reignited it that I stumbled across and shared with you guys in the group. And it's something that I have seen. I've always spoken about the value of the social narrative and how important ads and how important messaging is from particularly places like social media now that is just as popular as television and radio, having to send the right narrative of out because this is how we sensitize our society. But it's been a while now that I've always noticed that there's always been a permissibility of ads aired where men suffer abuse. So the troubling thing about it, even more than looking at the ad, is the fact that when you look to the comment section or when you look to persons commenting on the ad, it's always comical. So you'd see an ad with a man in the video, his wife walk up to him, hit him and slap up, buff him up. And to us, we would find it comical. And to me, I think it is damaging. But one thing I would say, or one reasoning I would still say that I am still grateful that I could see the ad, is that it actually demonstrates what takes place in the home and how we look at it in the home as well. It explains to us that a man suffering physical abuse, a man being a piece of soap or an object being thrown at a man, or a man being buffed or scolded or emasculated, is something that we, for some reason, have no issue when we see it. It's always downplayed, it's always belittled, it's always what we call a joke. But in the vice versa, I'd imagine if we saw an ad that showed that type of abuse toward a woman, we would have uproar, not only amongst women, but amongst men as well. And even from the very said video, you will not see comments of men standing and saying, this is right, this is not right, this is abusive, We are men. We have feelings too. We don't like to feel like this. We don't want anybody pelt anything at us. We don't want anybody walk up to us and slap us. We don't want anybody talk to us like if we are animal or if we are any less significant in the family space. And that, as I said, is something that I have seen for years in advertisements, for years in public messaging. And this ad that we came across just kind of reignited the entire spark of what continues to happen in the social narrative space when it comes to advertisements on it being pushed out in our public media networks.
And we will show a clip of the ad in the conversation. But Dr. Bob, in terms of the comments, when you saw the video, what did you feel when you saw the comments that people were leaving on the video that was shown there? Because it really is troubling, and I really want our viewers to understand this morning what we're talking about. But how did you feel when you saw the comments coming out?
She muted.
All right, Dr. Bob, we're not hearing. Dr. Bob, we're having some issues with the audio on your side, so we'll try to fix that and come back to you. But in the meantime, we'll just run the video while we sort that out, so that our viewers can have first-hand information in terms of what we're talking about, so they can connect with the issue.
Ow! Ooh, Tali, what is soap?
What soap, Brandon?
The soap to wash the clothes, the
It's
powder
right
soap.
under the sink.
It's not under the sink. I just checked.
Brandon, if you make me get from here, and the soap under the sink, I tell you one out slapping.
I just checked. It's not under the sink. I just checked.
The man just never know to find anything. Never know. Brandon, where's this?
I go wash the clothes for a week. Don't ask me that.
Just make a cup of soap and wash him. Wash him.
So that is the ad. That is the ad advertising a product that should be used in homes. Dr. Bob?
I think she's muted. She has to unmute, possibly.
Turn on your, if you can turn on your mic. There we go. There we go. We can hear you now. Yes.
Yes, I experienced a range of emotions. Initially, it was shock, and maybe I should not have been feeling that, because this is what happens. I was sad, I was angry, and I felt disappointed. Because we have been working hard. Rhondall, Adanna, and a number of us have been working hard, trying to fix this thing. And there, this comes up, and the comments were so disappointing. In fact, it was considered to be humor, and it is not humor. What we saw being demonstrated by that lady was disrespect, emasculation. We saw a man cowering and submitting to saying he would do the laundry for a week or so to avoid being beaten. We don't want this kind of men. We don't want these kinds of men. We are saying we want men to be men, yet we are emasculating them. And this is disappointing. And the fact that this was associated with a particular brand is also troubling. In fact, what I saw was not a brand, not the detergent, and I don't feel motivated to use it. What I feel motivated to do is to speak out against the double standards. As Rhondall said, if this was the reverse, if we saw a man being abusive to a woman, the whole country would have been coming out against the man. We are not to encourage this in women. We are not to encourage it. It is not a joke. It is not a good example for society.
I totally agree with you, Dr. Bob. And we are bringing up boys who we want to be men. You rightfully said that we as women, we look for strong men. We write a list. As a young girls growing up, you write a list of what you want this man to be, and you make up this perfect man in your mind. And nobody is perfect, even the woman who looking for this perfect man. And he will fall short. So would you. And so when he doesn't do what you want to do, you become what we saw in the video. You become disappointed, you become, and then I want to talk through the fact that we are raising young men who we want to be pillars in society, but they come from women who have this type of attitude towards men. How does that work in a society?
And that it doesn't work. That is exactly why we have all the chaos that we have today. And that's why I say the fact that you could feel comfortable to craft art of such a nature and it be seen as permissible to put out there by even the persons who own the brand should tell you the culture that we have. Little do you know as well, the man individual may have been co-author of it because this is the way we've been cultured. A lot of boys were raised by single mothers also, and that is the behavior they saw. So that is normative for that type of a response towards a man. So some men are now being raised with the expectancy that this is normal, and it isn't. It just takes you to look at the other side of the pendulum. Had him been the one telling her, if you don't wash this clothes before the week done, and she cowering and saying, don't slap me again, there would be the feminists outside. There would be the most vocalists outside. There would be men in condemnation of this very video. And I mean, I don't like to take away from anybody's earnings. So what you really want to do, however, is to tell them that such a video needs to be recrafted. It, to me, as a businessman, as Dr. Ward alluded to, it's not a good selling point in the first place. So I am surprised that a business owner would see that and say, hey, you know, this is funny. We could put that out there. It speaks to how we are cultured in our society, as into the things we see that are permissible. I will go back to the point, and this I haven't only highlighted this in the past when it was pertaining to men being abused. I also have highlighted ads that I saw. I remember a particular ad that I saw from a specific beverage company, alcoholic beverage company, where a young man and a group of men was sitting in a bar in the display, and he was talking about going to look for a engagement ring for his fiance, meeting the jeweler, and then trying to say to be a man was for him to then be unfaithful to the person he went to get the ring with by the jeweler. And I condemn that so much that the alcoholic beverage changed the ad immediately and put slogans all over the highway representing of what a man should be, a better man should be, because I understood how dangerous a narrative that was for a young man to feel that to be a man was what meant for him to be participant in infidelity. So yet again, we are bringing up another topic again, where in this case, it is clear that this is a toxic, non-functional relationship being portrayed as normal, and people are totally desensitized to the fact and to the abuse that's taking place in the video. So much that we are commenting, we're having a comic, we're making comedy out of it, and we are not all bothered by it. And that to me is a very troubling thing.
And talking about not being bothered by it, Rhondall, I know that you're an activist and you're very, very vocal when men's issues are concerned. In terms of corporate Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and other agencies, have you seen anybody showing the measure of interest in terms of having conversations, consultations, implementing programs that will strengthen, first and foremost, the family unit, empowering the man, and for people to understand what their roles are and how do we treat with and respect each other?
I mean, clearly not enough is being done. One of the challenges that you'd have there, being a past member of the Telecommunication Authority Board, I can tell you it is an ad on social media. So I don't even know. I think there's still the broadcasting code is still to be passed. I don't even know if the Telecommunication Authority or anybody really has the power to have it removed off of social media. That's one of the things. So the sitting government for certain needs to definitely look and strengthen the ambits within the Telecommunication Authority to make sure that if ads of such a nature are on social media, that it isn't protected because of a lack of a substantial broadcasting code. As I said, it's not to my knowledge since my demitting the directorship portfolio, what has taken place at that so far. But we need to be able, from a governmental stand, to make sure that not even on social media, these things must be allowed. You understand? On the other forefront, as you said, corporate. corporate must have a policy also that, hey, this can stand in our brand. These things must not be displayed in our brand. So are you going to tell me if you could promote an ad or have an ad with your company that promotes abuse, it means that you could have one that promotes sexual harassment. It means you could have one that promotes any other crime in this country. So you would expect that the company itself has some policy that will guide in the production of ads, that it puts its name behind. But even without a broadcast code, even without a policy directive from the company itself, we the people have a particular type of power, and that is a power of protest. And we've seen it flexed, as I said, many times this muscle has been flexed when it's been instance of men acting out of order. I have seen a mayor demit office because of that public persuasion. And my problem is, why is our society so desensitized that when we see abuse toward males who are boys just grown into men, that we are totally desensitized and there's no call for action, there's no protestant action at times when there should be?
Absolutely, absolutely. I really wish that more people could be a part of this conversation and to really have this sensitization as to the impact of the things that can follow, having a situation like this being acceptable in our society. We're going to continue the conversation. We have to go for a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we continue speaking with Rhondall Fields and Dr. Joan Bobb-Ward as we speak about dismantling the double standards in male-female narratives. We'll be right back right after this. But in the meantime, share the live. Share the live. Share the live. Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. We've been having conversations with Mr. Rhondall Fields. He is the president of the Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dr. Joan Bobb-Ward. She's an educator, and the topic this morning is dismantling the double standards in male-female narratives. Welcome back to the program, Dr. Bob and Rhondall. Before we went to the break, we were addressing some of these situations and the issues. And Dr. Bob, I want to ask you, I know in terms of being a part of the International Men's Day Planning Committee, you've been doing a lot of research in terms of men's issues and how governments have been treating with issues and how lenient have they been in terms of the requests that men will put in, for instance. And I know Rhondall always tries to champion this in terms of getting paternity leave and, just dealing with the issues that men have. What has been the response or the outcome in terms of the region? Because we're talking here about a cultural type of acceptance where we see these things happening. So what has been your data, your collection in terms of data for how people have been responding to men's issues and their needs and meeting them?
Okay, I do not have any hard data at this time. What I can give you is anecdotal evidence. The results are slow in coming. The change that we want to see is extremely slow in coming. Thankfully, Grenada was able to pick up this thing and to hold this conference in 2023, where we would say, there was some impact, and we see St. Kitts and Nevis is busy as well, Anguilla is busy as well. However, throughout the region, we need to see real change, and it is not come. It's happening too slowly. So we need to redouble our efforts even as we plan towards the next International Men's Day celebration. And you see, what happens is that men are not recognized outside of International Men's Day, and they are barely recognized on Father's Day, and that's it. We're talking about dismantling the double standards. And if we truly have to do that, it means that our efforts must be year-round. And I want to talk a little bit about the video again, Adanna, if you permit me.
Sure.
What I see there is not only a man being abused, but I see there a poor example of relationship interaction. So what we're seeing there is that people have been taught that the conversation between a woman and a man when you need help is one where the woman commands the man, orders him around, not even asking please, not even using the social words, the please and thank you that we were taught in preschool. Again, we see that there is something that would interfere with a man's desire to help in the home. Men help at home. I have that experience where my husband would help me with whatever needs to be done. However, if you have to shout at a man and threaten a man so that he could find the detergent so that the laundry could be done, he's going to put up some resistance. And we're teaching society that really helping in that way is not something that will come naturally to a man, and that's not true. It is something that we've taught society and we need to erase it. We are also teaching that a man should be punished if he does not comply. All those things are really tearing away at our society. There are real men out there who want to help, there are men who want to assist, and we should allow them to do so. We have to be polite. Respect really breeds respect. When we disrespect a man, when we threaten him, excuse me, when we try to make him feel embarrassed, and when we use it as humor while we sit on a couch wrapped up in a coat and don't want to help, then there's a serious problem. We're teaching our society very negative things, and we're going to reap the whirlwind.
And I totally agree with you, Dr. Bob, because I am thinking, as I mentioned earlier, we're bringing up young men. We're bringing up young men, and these are the things that we are showing them. And I know that there are homes where the man has the power and the authority to be a man as he should be. But when they see things like this on social media, then they kind of confused now. What side do I go to? Who do I listen to? What do I accept? How do I behave as a young man and as a man? And Rhondall, I like the experience, the example you gave with the young man in the bar being influenced to go and cheat because that's how to be a man, because that's what he's learning on the block. But the people on the block learned it some way. So this now, it calls for a cultural shift, a whole conversation, not just in this situation, but we have to look at it holistically. And that is why International Men's Day, the regional conference that we host, will address these types of cultural changes. We need to now come and ensure that we can change the mindset of people. And I think one of the things we need to do is go back to the home. And for people to understand their roles between men and women. And something I always speak about on this program, whether we're talking about International Men's Day, International Women's Day, whatever we're talking about, I make this strong point that once a man understands his role and he's given the authority to be a man, everybody else's life is made easy. And this is something we don't understand. We are competing for roles when we should not be competing. So what we need to do is find a way. And I'm hoping that International Men's Day, Rhondall, can kind of, deal with that situation in terms of providing a platform for people to understand their roles. I want you to talk a little bit about that as well,
Yeah, I'm open so as well. And that's why it's so important. And that's why I like that we have the involvement of women in this planning of International Men's Day. And some of the topics are centered around women relating to men as well. It's critical, it's important, and that is why we actually had some women in the crowd as well. And that's why we want women to look at these conferences as well, because apart from also the way we are raising the man as into what he perceives when he sees this, we are raising the girls into women as well. And what she perceives is important as well. She must not subliminally be taught that it is right for her to behave in that manner. It is right for her to speak to another human being like that. And it is right for her to treat another human being like that. One specifically that you intend to cohabit with, have a family with, and then have children yourselves. So it is particularly important that these types of messages, when they go out in a safe and sanitized way. If we put the wrong message out there, how do we want to fix things socially and culturally if there's bad narrative out there? And we have to have safeguards to protect this negative narrative from coming out into the media space. We have to understand now that we have a social media space that may need marshalling as well. Because yes, some things may not be on the public airwaves where there's television and radio, but we can surely see that now social media advertising is possibly shooting out of it's gone out to the sky. So we have to be very particular and careful there as well, because you do not want to teach young girls that it is right to be abusive. It is right to not be compliant in a relationship where we could actually sit down and have a discussion. But I try to ask myself, what was the real need for such a depiction. And the only thing I could come up with is because they understand who created the ad, that this is what takes place in the home, and that people will say, hey, yeah, boy, look me, boy, look how mommy, that mommy day. Or people will say, hey, boy, look me, that my girl day. Or, boy, I just really go through that. And because of that, it will make them feel like, all right, this is an everyday thing and an everyday product that is comfortable. But the thing is, it should make us uncomfortable. It should make us know that what's taking place on homes, if we're comfortable at looking at it like this, could be the thing that's actually leading up to domestic murders. Because he could take that, and that was my first message, you know. I said, one day, this particular man, at some point, may then become enraged, retaliate, and strike the woman in a real life scenario for people who live what is in that ad. And when he strikes her, or God forbid, it goes even further and it becomes a domestic murder. None or nobody or very few or little people know the backstory or know the abuse he endured before silently saying anything. That is a live depiction of what takes place sometimes. I'm not saying that it's always the depiction, but I am saying it is a percentage of the depiction. The depiction is a percentage of what really takes place in homes at times. I've heard these stories many times. I remember explicitly some years ago, a man we had to go and assist. The wife continuously abused him, continuously, and a day he pick up a rocking chair and he hit it, and it broke her hand. And he get a protection order, and he get thrown out of the house, and he get back from his children for the one action he took part in after taking abuse for multiple years. So this type of messaging is dangerous because, as we said, it plants the wrong seed in the minds, particularly of the vulnerable, which are the young ones coming up. And it should not be entertained. And I think there should be a public outcry that, here what? Fine, you want to do your ads. We're not against young people and entrepreneurship. We support that. But there's a certain thing, and we must have a certain appetite for better than that. And that will encourage them to put out better than that, because we, the society, would have a better appetite and we would reject things that we know that are non-beneficial to our society at large.
Rhondall, I like that. You know, we must have an appetite for better than that. And this is a call for all of Trinidad and Tobago, all of corporate, the government, all the agencies who have the influence, especially in social media spaces, because that's where people reside now. People live on social media. So we must have an appetite for better, because at the end of the day, we have the buying power. We have the purchasing power. We are the ones who can say this is good or this is not good. So let us improve our appetite as we see things popping up on social media. Let us be vocal. Let us open our mouths and speak to issues that we know can be detrimental to our societies in Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, I want to live in a space that is nice, beautiful, safe, calm. So do you. So do your children. And so, viewers, this morning we want to really emphasize the fact that it is very important that you let your voice be heard in situations like this, because all of us want to live in a safe space. Dr. Bobb-Ward and Rhondall Fields, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning and being a part of this very important conversation. This conversation will not end here. We will continue having conversations like this, highlighting issues like this, and of course encouraging consultations and initiatives that can help to curb this type of behavior and improving our appetite. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the end of the morning show, but before we go, we still have 2 birthdays that we almost forgot to mention this morning. So, of course, we want to say happy birthday to Mr. Denzel White. Denzel White, of course, is celebrating a birthday. Okay, before we go to Denzel White, my apologies. Okay, they sent for me here Mr. Leroy Charles, aka Murphy of Culloden, is celebrating. Listen, guys, what are we doing here this morning? So we have Murphy and we also have Denzel White celebrating a birthday and Father's Day as well. And I want to say happy birthday, happy Father's Day. We love you. We love you very much and we appreciate you. And we do hope that you have a wonderful and amazing birthday. Okay, we're going to get it right now. This one is Murphy. He's known as Murphy from Culloden. His correct name is Leroy Charles. And it says, belated Father's Day and happy Earth Strong to you. Thanking God for your life and strength, a devoted husband, father, and son from your wife and your son Malik. right? So that's happy Father's Day and happy birthday as well. And then Mr. Denzel White also celebrating his birthday. We say happy 75 years. Happy birthday to you. And we say God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. And of course, before we leave today, we're going to reveal to you the photo of the day. Did you guess where the photo of the day was taken today? The photo of the day was submitted by Lawrence. Let me get the name, sorry. It's Lawrence James. Yes, Lawrence James submitted this photo, and it's Indian Bay. Indian Bay right here on the island of Tobago in Speyside. Beautiful, beautiful Speyside, the tourist village of Speyside. Yes, Indian Bay, submitted there by Lawrence James. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for being with us. This is where we have to end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, and as we go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.